Okay, so we're going to talk about this trade that I just took today and why I did limited risk on this one. Sorry, a limited take profit, what I expect, and how I got into it. All right, so get to that in just a moment. Let's always start off in our higher time frame outlook. So I hope everyone had a good weekend. Today is November 28th, and I've woken up to the charts to see this. All right, so let's just clear it up so we can sort of get a good idea of what's been going on. On the daily, we've come into this very powerful daily block. We push down. Now, since here, really, what's this? October time, we've started initiating away, creating cores at the bottom here as we've entered into this zone. So I do have an expectation and a bias to continue shorts, but things can change and things could be changing. This could be actually from this could be the low. We could be initiating high prices from here, taking out a lot more calls from up above here. We don't know, obviously, but we do know we're in a higher time frame primary. Now, I woke up to seeing this. Okay, let's just get this over here just for a second. So this box here turned into a buy primary. So we turned from a sell primary into a buy primary. And so price was shooting up here. This was last week. And then it sort of worked its way back down, creating cores all the way. Stopped right before this primary and then came into the primary. And then this was yesterday, Sunday, and took off. Literally took off for a ride. Now I was thinking to myself, we've got definite cores over here. Okay, so we've got a nice buy primary right here that has now just been not only mitigated in and out of. We just extend this. It have not just been mitigated, but we've also just taken liquidity right from above it. And if I zoom in, you can, I'm not going to do it because it just take a few seconds. We don't need to, but this actually did take liquidity from above here, just slightly, but it did do it. And so now, as I analyze, I'm thinking to myself, well, we've got this buy primary down here. Could we be creating a buy primary? And sure enough, we are. We've got this range here that initiated, broke structure. It came back in, and this is the range that actually took the liquidity from beneath here and broke structure. So this is an absolutely active primary, buy primary. And so we should be looking for longs. But, and this is where things get subjective and a little tricky. Look at how liquidity was taken. This is the range I'm saying broke structure and stacked from this high here down to this low here. So I placed my liquidity here. This is the range that actually took the liquidity. And so in my opinion, we should have reacted from here and then broken structure. But that didn't happen. They took more liquidity and actually just bounced off of the buy primary and took that like extra liquidity. So it's kind of like this range here isn't as strong of a buy primary as it could be. Does that make sense? Because we expect liquidity grab, like literally I expect that to take liquidity and just go. The fact that it took liquidity, bounced, couldn't break structure, took more liquidity from a buy primary. Buy primary is a strong idea here. But this range here, from this high to this low, didn't take any kind of liquidity other than this. And now as I'm observing the candle, and this is what I woke up saying to myself, is this just looks like a freaking wick, doesn't it? A higher time frame wick. Fast in, fast out, mitigation, in, out, shake it all about, do the hokey pokey and turn around kind of thing, right? And so that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking we're in a massive, massive sell primary. We've just taken liquidity from above a sell primary, a lower time frame sell primary within the higher time frame one. We've just created this V looking thing here. And so I'm absolutely expecting shorts from here. I'm expecting actually for this buy primary not to hold, even though it's formed and we are getting some sort of we might get a reaction. There's been zero reaction so far. And I'm actually expecting this not to hold. I'm actually expecting this to turn into a sell primary. These are the ranges. They've initiated price, broke structure, and then this will become the sell primary. That's what I'm expecting at this point, just because of this weirdness that went on here when we took the liquidity from beneath this candle here. Not only that, but the look of it as well, the actual sharp in, sharp outness. Sharp in, sharp out. It doesn't mean that this isn't our bias and this isn't going to hold. This should have a reaction. We should see some sort of reaction. The chances that we might not have a reaction are if this really is a strong mitigation. If this is a strong mitigation, there's probably a chance that we won't see any reaction. We'll break through and then we'll do the reaction later and mitigate in and out of this sort of area a little bit later on. So that's what I'm seeing on the 1 hour. It's definitely like buy primary to buy primary. So it makes sort of sense for us to keep buying here. So we've got to sort of not dismiss buys at all, especially in a buy primary, but it's just not strong looking, strong feeling, and it's not following all kind of typical rules that we're used to seeing. So for that, we will keep our eyes on buys, but my bias has actually switched to a shorts in this instance. And I'll tell you why as well, because now we go to the 5 minute and you're going to see, have I not got it drawn on the 5 minute? Well, it's on the 1 minute that's most obvious, but I'll draw it on the 1 minute. So we've got this kind of, this is that V that we've been seeing on the higher time frame. Sell primary. This was not a sell primary. This was the latest sell primary that's been completely left and unmitigated. And so we're creating sell primaries. And it's for that reason, if we're creating sell primaries, I believe that we're going to be having a further reaction down. I don't think we're going to be needing to create sell primaries if our intention is just to whip up here and take it out as liquidity. I think that the sell primaries are most likely created to support lower prices or to at least support a very complex looking kind of stacking of liquidity. As we get back into these areas, I feel like these will be actually here to create big moves and big reactions away from them. If we're going to go up, it's just sort of really ranging is what I'm feeling here. If we're going long, if we're going short, then we're right on track and we're aggressively moving down and we should just follow our sell primaries, which is what we're doing. Okay, so that's our sort of higher time frame outlook. And then you can see what I was talking about and why I am favoring sells. Because of this structure here. Here's the V, here's that wick that's being created, the big wick that's being created, right? And so we've got this last known buy primary. I think there may have been a buy primary up here. Was it? I can't remember. Maybe it was this one. Maybe this is the last known one. So this is the last known one, and that got handed out over. And I've written this: buy primary hands off to sell primary, and it's the most obvious sort of looking one ever. You've got this buy primary and this sell primary form straight after. Why do that? If you're going long, why would you hand off sell? You wouldn't create a sell primary. Is really what I'm trying to say here. Is my logic anyway, the way I interpret this. And so now I guess we can start sort of getting into the sells. So I start trading around 7 a.m. PST, and it's 8:30 right now. So somewhere around this area, and I'm seeing this sell primary has formed. I'm seeing like a reaction out of it, and I'm kind of expecting price to come back to this. This is where I'd like to see. This looks like cause, and I'm, really looking for price to come back in, and that's when we're going to start analyzing this. And I'll talk about all of this and why, what it all means. So let's sort of dive in. I'm going to try to stay on the 1 minute until we need that 15 seconds. So I see price initiating down. Haven't got any other sell primary other than this one. And that's when this forms here. And let's try to, there we go. It's all this kind of stuff here. Let's get this out of the way just for now. We'll come back to that. So what I noticed here was that we had a lower time frame range, a break of structure that was quite aggressive. And then I noticed we came back in to take that liquidity above there and broke down. That to me all day long is a sell primary. Okay, so I'm seeing a sell primary has formed lower down than this one, and so that to me is just it's just like a sign, if you will, that hey, we're initiating away. We're not actually planning on coming up here, because if we're because we're going to get a reaction out of this. This is what I'm trying to say. We will be getting a reaction out of this order block, this cell primary, and it's just like how much of a reaction are we going to get? When are we going to get the reaction? All of the rest of it, right? So, but to have it form here just means that good things for us as traders, right? Because we're able to identify a zone in which we have high probability and high confidence that we will get that reaction. Okay? And that's all it is, a reaction. We don't know if it will hold or not. We just know it's likely to hold and it's likely to have a reaction. So as I analyze this, and we'll just put replay mode on, say somewhere like here, I flicked through my charts here because I was looking at that sort of these bars. Let's go to that back that 1 minute just for a second. So I'm seeing all these bars and they're just aggressive up, aggressive down. And I sort of see everything here, and I'm going, well, where's the meat and potatoes? Is it here? You know, where are we likely to come back to in this range? You know, is what I'm asking myself. Since we've made a sell primary, where do I think price will come back to? Did they mitigate this? You know, did they mitigate and spend time mitigating in and out? Not really. Wick in, wick out, wick in, wick out. So there hasn't been time spent here transacting. So this could be the bulk of the orders. And then I'm seeing this and this. It just didn't look clean on this chart, on this time frame. So I flick through my time frames and I get to the 3rd minute and I can see that all the bodies are sort of contained within here. I look on the 4th minute chart. It looks, you know, just full bodied OBs. And then on the 5 minute it's just all been lost now into noise, and it just looks like, you know, it's just too, you need to analyze it on the lower time frame than lower than 5. So I wrote 3 minute bodies here, drew it in here. And I've seen just from experience that when we have like the bulk of the bodies in an area, what they actually like to do is to come up just above them and then go down, you know, and like literally that's the wick. And so I'm banking on that. I've got 3 pip stop, and I put my order here, and I'm expecting, you know, it to hold. I mean, it didn't cover the high. I'd like it to ideally cover that high, you know, something like this would have been the best for me. But you know, the play is that the bodies will hold, and that's just going to be a wick. So that's the trade idea. So I'm just holding with that. So I'm not too worried about getting the highs. So I let that go there. And now we're going to go to our 15 seconds, because now I can explain why I entered into this trade and what it all sort of meant, right? So price didn't come back to here, but we had this range and this break of structure. And I didn't even get a chance to draw it on, because what I was seeing in the moment was that this range was being created with this break of structure as well. And then I drew this on as soon as I saw this break of structure. I put the liquidity here, and I'm like, oh, okay, so we've got a nice order block here, a break in structure. They're going to come up, take liquidity, come hopefully into my my 3 minute body, and then reject away. That was the trade idea. And then I start to see this occur. Where was it? Let's actually just go back to 1 minute. Was it the 1 minute? I believe it was here. I believe it was this. I believe this is an inside bar on the 1 minute. Let me just double check that. Yes, right there. Right? So zoom in. It was the 1 minute actually that clued me onto this one, which was interesting, right? So this is the bar. So now you understand what I was waiting for, right? We were waiting for this trade. It didn't come back in. I'm just going to delete this because I want to get this cleaner off my charts, right? We understand that this range was created, and we thought it was going to become liquidity. They were going to grab from up above it and go. They didn't. So I'm just going to take it off right now because I don't need it there. This little guy right here, the inside bar. So I'm looking at this and going, well, you know, I know that they don't have to come up to this level. I've seen so many times that they will not do what I expect them to do. They don't want to let me get in. They don't want to make it obvious what they're up to, right? And I've seen them time and time again come up and stack calls right before an order block. And so I sort of saw this happening, and then I saw that break of structure. And so I thought to myself, well, if I was on a lower time frame, can I see any kind of range initiation break of structure, stacking calls? And sure enough, this inside bar gave me that. It told me exactly it showed me exactly what it was. So while this doesn't look like a typical OB that you see me draw in as like the range break, the range initiation breaker structure, this is just an inside bar, which is doing exactly that. That is exactly what an inside bar is. It's just a halting of price before it makes a decision. And that was a strong break of structure as well. It was like a range initiation, left IPA, they initiated away. So it was like a bank kind of thing, right? And so I'm thinking to myself, well, maybe this is the OB. Maybe this is the cause. And so I draw that on. Actually, I didn't draw that on, but I drew the order block on, like had, or at least was monitoring it in my eyes, saw it completely. Because this is fast. Remember, this is 1 minute chart. This is like down to 15 seconds. I had it on as well. And so there's our mini range, right? The inside bar here, the 1 minute inside bar is right here, and they break structure down. And so I'm thinking, well, if they can take liquidity from above here, right? And break structure, then guess what? I've got a sell primary, a lower time frame one, but I've got one. And at a good area, at an area where I understand, and I'm thinking to myself, well, sell primary into a lower time frame sell primary right before, that's kind of like a stacking kind of a thing, isn't it? And it's just a telltale sign that we're initiating away as well. So to me, that's how I interpreted it. Okay, so I've got a range, a break structure, I've got liquidity stacked here, hardcore liquidity because it was a breaker structure. They made this sell range, broke structure, and immediately I want in. And I'm thinking to myself, where do I want in? Where do I want to put my stops? Where's the meat and potatoes? And for me, this was pretty easy to see. The meat and potatoes were kind of in this kind of an area of the order block. So I just made sure, 3 pips, that I had my stop touching the high. I didn't anticipate that they were going to come up and do equal highs or anything like that. I just wanted my stop up here, and it coincided that it was in with the meat and potatoes of the order block, right? Boom, tagged in, 6.23 R. This is the first time you've probably ever seen me do anything like this. But now we're going to jump over to our this side of things. This is the last known buy primary. That we have in this area, right? And I'm thinking, if we're going to bounce from anywhere, it's going to be here. It's absolutely 1000% going to be from here if we're going to have it, or it'll be from below it. But I figured with all of this, the way it looks, extremely causey. Money, liquidity all over the place up here, right? And I'm thinking to myself, well, if they're going to come do it, it is, Monday, it's New York afternoon hours for them or getting there. And I always sort of feel that they like to sort of do the manipulation plays and accrue sort of in ranges during these sort of hours, mostly is what I've sort of seen. Some days, we might get a washout here and it might just keep initiating lower prices, rim C to rim C to rim C to rim C, and they might actually push price like super, super far away, especially if that's what they are looking to do on a higher time frame perspective, which is actually what they are trying to do, right? That we think they are. So it might have been a bad idea for me not to have gone for a full 10R, but I just wanted my take profit right at the open of this order block here. And I did, and that's exactly how I played this. So let's just watch the trade play out. It ranged for a little bit, and then finally we broke structure, takes me out 6R, right? So a good trade, very high risk I felt because of the trade location, because of what was going on, definitely high risk. Now, hindsight, I don't ever look at hindsight, but we're going to take a little look. Look, we haven't hit a 10R yet. It's likely we're going to hit it. What can I say? You know what? I just felt that range, that buy primary, we're going to see a reaction from it. And I think the reaction is going to be quite significant. I think it will actually be one that takes us up to a higher time frame sell primary, which is actually what, up here, it looks like. Here's that lower time frame one, but here's that sort of higher time frame one as well up here. And this is where I actually think price is going to sort of ping pong to if it's going to bounce from here, if we're going to have a reaction from this. Again, it doesn't have to react. I mean, we are actually experiencing a reaction right now in and out of this. It's just whether or not it's going to hold and sort of just initiate higher prices, take some liquidity before it continues moving down, or is this going to be from where we're going to bounce and go long? We don't know. But either way, I just wanted to get out. I just want to be no exposure in this market when we're moving through here, even if it does take me into a potential 10-hour situation. I'm comfortable with how I traded this. And it was because of that reason I changed my profit amounts. I'm always 10R, but because of this trade location, because of this lower time frame primary, if it was a higher time frame primary, all day long I'd be holding for 10R. If it was up here, 1,000,000% I'd be holding for that 10R. And coincidentally, it's almost in the same location, right? I think I was entering right here, and look at the take profits almost exactly. So if price had to come up here, I'd have been holding that for that 10R, but because of that trade location, I went for that modified. So that's my trading so far on the day. I probably will not be trading anymore now. I think I'm going to stop for the day because I've got lots of stuff going on around the house and things like that. And I'm just not feeling 100% at the moment, like in my body. I have had a meditation this morning. I am feeling good with my sort of process getting to the charts, but it's just from the weekend, Thanksgiving and everything else. I'm feeling a little bit sort of, just my physical body needs to sort of rest and my brain isn't as sharp as it perhaps could be. So I'm looking forward to sort of just taking a little time today to get that back in order. So for the rest of the week, I'm real sharp and feeling really good about everything. All right. Aloha to anybody watching. Love. Hope everyone's having an amazing day and making a crap ton of R. Speak soon.